Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers. This is Annie 258, and this is Module 13, and this is the introduction to Module 13. So we'll take you through this as fast as possible so you can get right to it. So we're moving on from Module 12 into Module 13, where you did all the pre-production and you're working with the same BSPs. Now in this particular module, you have a choice. You have a choice of replacing all the BSPs with modular assets, and you guys know how long that takes. You did that with the sci-fi. It does look fantastic, probably your best level yet. And we know that we have limitations when we just texture the BSPs. They don't look as realistic. You have that choice, and quite frankly, the reason why I gave you that choice is because we have limited time. And this is our biggest level. So I wanted to give you that option. Now you can do a hybrid where you can go in and do replacement of some of the BSP buildings if you'd like, and then maybe the large building like the temple, which would take a long time to do all the replacement of the module assets. You could do a texture. Now, there are textures out there, especially Substance Painter textures, that are really good. I've also given you guys a nice little starter kit of some great textures that you guys can experiment, and hopefully you get some realistic results. Obviously, a texture BSP looks way worse than a modular asset. So you understand where I'm coming from, where that goes. But I understand also we only have 3 more weeks to get all this finished, and it's a pretty large level. So keep that under, you have that choice, and I'm not going to grade you off. I will grade you off, though, if you just fly through this as fast as you possibly can and just throw stuff on there. Because I do want you to take the time to make it look as realistic as you can. And some of the textures that I've given you, you should be able to do that, no problem. The video should be in this spot right here on Monday morning. Overview, kind of went through that overview with you already. That I expect you to do one or the other, or you can do a hybrid of both. Either you're texturing your BSPs and texturing them as realistic as possible, and replacing, you're going to be building a terrain. So you can see that down here under the course assignment, you're going to be creating a terrain. Now the terrain I want, this is why I give you guys an example, and also this is going to be a nighttime scene as well. And I'm going to expect you to have torches. I'm going to expect you guys to model a bridge. I'm going to have you model a modular asset and actually place it in here. So the bridge is probably the easiest modular asset you're going to have. That's going to come if we look forward to modular 14, where you're going to create 4 objects. Okay, that can come from the bridge itself. Okay. And that's going to be modular assets. That's not going to be counted as the pieces, separate pieces, but as one piece. But you're going to have to model that modularly, and you'll have to come up with 3 other objects you're going to create in this scene. So you're going to keep pretty busy in module 14, and then 15 will be set dressing and lighting. And then you'll turn in the movie. Now you'll have a movie file in this one as well, so you can take me through everything. Make sure you, when you give me a movie file, that it is compressed at H.264 or XVID. Now you can bring all your videos into Premiere Pro and make those changes. You can also do it in Unreal. You can check mark your compression that you want to use. And those two are the compression ratios or compression tools that I want you to use. So XVID and H.264. Again, you guys realize that you're going to have to create a plane, and you'll place a texture, water texture on it. That will be your river or your lake or your pond or whatever you're going to have in here. You need to have some kind of a waterfall in here as well. This image doesn't show it, but you're going to have pathways. So the idea here is you'll have a lot of work to do this week. Don't start late. It's not hard work. It's just a lot of work to do. So you'll have to sculpt your landscape. Okay, so you can see and you need to have a mountain range in the background. You cannot have your player get out of the level. So this level is going to be self-contained. You can have a mountain range. I prefer a mountain range on the outside. And also you need to have pathways to every building. So so the idea here is, I'll just kind of paraphrase what we see up here, is that you'll sculpt your terrain by using the videos that you see. I don't care what you want to do first. If you want to texture the buildings first and then sculpt and then texture the terrain, you can do that. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to hurt anything. I prefer, I would suggest that you do the sculpting first and the terrain, and then add buildings. It's really up to you. Now, if you have a system that doesn't run very well, you might have some issues with the terrain sculpting, and you might have some issues with the terrain texturing. But I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for you guys that have machines that aren't quite up to snuff, that might have some video card issues, and unfortunately there's nothing I can do or you can do about that. But all you can do is, and that's why I kept it pretty simple. So if you do a terrain, I only ask for 3 textures. Okay, the more textures, the more resources it takes. So the textures you have to have is going to be spelled out here. And just for instance, could be grass, could be dirt, and could be rock. Okay, so you can see the higher elevations are all rock because of the elevation. And the grass, is down low, and then you have the lowest part, which is the dirt and the pathways. Okay. We're not looking to put any trees or any set dressing in here at all. This is all about texturing now. So you can either texture your BSPs or replace them with some modular pieces if you want to make them look more realistic. Or you can do hybrid. You can do one building just texture and another building with some set dressing, or maybe texture the size of the building and the top would be, either however you want to do this is really up to you, and I'm okay with all textures on the BSPs. It doesn't look as nice as modular systems look when you replace the BSPs. BSPs are not meant to be kept. They're really not. They're more of a prototype. Just so you can check scale. So what I prefer from this, your end results will be basically a 30-second or 30+ second video of you going through your whole environment. And it might take a lot more than that to go through your whole entire level. So keep that in mind. Okay, and you have to use compression, otherwise you'll never get that video uploaded. Okay, now another thing you guys can do is that if you find that it's just so big, you can go ahead and put it up on YouTube and just send me a link. Make sure it's in a Word document, and I can go ahead and copy and paste that URL up into there. Make sure it's working properly. That's really important. And make sure I get all the screenshots. Okay. Now obviously I want that 30-second plus video in, if you can upload it. This is only if you can't upload your video and you're running out of time and you need to get your work in, at least your screenshots in. So you can always send me a URL if you cannot upload your video. Okay? Alright, so keep that in mind. Again, I want that video if you can upload it. Either way, I'm going to get it. So make sure that you get that to me. I've got the same kind of, this is more of a refresher. Again, I put that in there. You guys can skip this if you understand materials and know how to add materials. And if you know how to add materials or how to find materials, I kept that in there for you. Maybe you didn't, you can't remember, so go ahead and watch those videos just as a refresher. The course assignments here. I do need a material list from you, at least 20 materials that you plan to use. And here are the requirements and restrictions. I'm not going to read the whole entire thing, that would take forever. But one of the things that I do want to point out is I want this to look as realistic as possible. I do not want this to look stylistic. Okay, so make sure when you are creating your material list, you think about that. Again, always double check the size of your buildings, how many buildings you have, and make sure you follow all the restrictions and requirements that I have for this entire level. Okay? Alright, so here's a screenshot from Substance Source, which is really cool. So that gives me some ideas. You can go on there and look at stuff. You may not want to buy anything, but it's up to you, of course. But here's just a start of, of the list to give you an idea of how you can go about doing it. And then our video lecture tutorials on terrain, how to build terrain, and here's that starter pack I was telling you about. I've got quite a few in there actually, and you might want to look at those first and kind of, play around with those to see what those look like in Unreal. See if you like them. If you don't, of course, you can find your own. I'm just trying to save you time to help out as much as I possibly can as an instructor for you guys to give you some resources to at least help you out, because this is a big week this week, and you're going to have to start right away. Again, it's not hard to do, it's just takes a long time to do. So we start off with part 1 of the landscape series. These are really well done. Make sure you save your work as you go along. Again, if you forget how to do texturing, you can watch the videos I created on our very first module. You can also look at the courtyard videos too as well, but I think they're the same as these. So when you watch those again, if you need a refresh. When you're all finished, then of course here's the grading rubric, everything that I need to have. You're going to have a lot of screenshots, and I need to have that 30-second plus video. You need to have all that. And of course your turn-in examples. I don't have a video in here, but you can see some of the turn-in examples. I gave you some examples of the interior, the exterior, the buildings, and then the top view, and then you can see all 4 sides. This is just one side of the 4 sides. So these are the basic shots that I need to have for each building. So the inside, each corner of each building, or whatever I ask you to do here. So I think 1 top-down view, 16 interior, 16 exterior, and 4 perspective on that, and then plus the 30-second video of you playing the entire level going through. And it will take longer than 30 seconds, I guarantee it, because it's a big area. So make sure it's compressed. Try not to go above 500 megabytes with your video. Okay? Alright? Alright, awesome. I wish you the best of luck this week. It will be a time-consuming week, so make sure you get everything set up and set your schedule up so you can spend a little more time on this, so you can have it finished on time. And with that said, the next module, if you want to look ahead, is going to be module 14, where you're going to create 4 assets. Now, one of the assets I'm going to be asking you to build is a modular bridge asset, meaning you'll create the walls of the bridge and the floor of the bridge, and then you just duplicate it across. That's up to you how you want to design it, but it will be a modular construction. And you'll have to create 3 other assets, just like we have been doing for all our modules. Okay? Have a great week. I'll see you guys in module 14.